Now, today on the program, we're looking at something along the lines of crypto. If you recall yesterday, one of our top stories was that the SEC was trying to bring some innovation called Crypto Smart, Nigeria Strong, a new push for stablecoin regulation. That's our focus today on the program. To stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the program. It's Business Daily on Trust TV. And before the break, I told you we're taking a look at SEC's new push. It calls it crypto. What's that thing again? Crypto Smart, Nigeria Strong, and it's their push for stable coin regulation. I have a guest with me in the studio that we're going to be looking at that conversation. But let me just give you a brief intro. It says that Nigeria Security and Exchange Commission is launching a new initiative tagged Crypto Smart, Nigeria Strong, aimed at strengthening regulatory oversight of stable coins in the country. What's the goal? To ensure Nigeria isn't left behind in the global shift toward digital currencies, while also protecting investors, maintaining market stability, and preventing fraud. Now, stable coins are crypto assets, typically backed by a fiat currency like the dollar, are gaining traction across Africa. Now, in Nigeria, they're often used to hedge against inflation or facilitate remittances. Under this initiative, the SEC will introduce a framework for licensing and supervising stablecoin issuers, ensure compliance with anti-money laundering standards, establish consumer protection rules, and operational transparency for digital assets platforms. It's also part of a broader move to align Nigeria's crypto market with international standards, a much-needed step given the country's high crypto adoption rates and recent controversies surrounding digital exchange. My guest, Japhet Johnson. I can see you're excited to get to the conversation.
Yes, I am. It's really interesting.
Tell me your take on this new move by SEC.
Yeah, I think I've always said it. I'm very excited when I see initiative that has to do with education, right? But the question is, who is supposed to actually champion those initiatives, right? When we look at SEC, they have been in the picture of regulation, and that's where we have been expecting them to actually keep hitting. I'm going to run you through some numbers quickly, and it will look so interesting for you. Okay, South Africa, as we speak today, has over 248 licenses approved, full licenses
for coins,
for exchanges and platforms to operate. And FSCA, that's the regulatory body that handles that, was inaugurated 1st of June 2023. Now, SEC ARIP, that is the regulatory body for incubation, was launched on May 2023. That's almost the same time frame, right? But it will surprise you, we only have 7 companies that have had just the provisional license, not full license. Seychelles has over 20 companies with full license. Mauritius has over 11 full license. Namibia has 1. So what is he saying? We have a lot to do with the regulation and licensing, not just the education, right? I've always been saying this. Allow the companies to do the education. Allow the companies to do the sensitization. Okay, they know their customers way better. They have access to the teeming youth. One of the goals for the Crypto Smart Nigeria Strong is to see how to target young investors. Now we're in bracket, young investors that we have not actually educated properly. Young investors that we're seeing are using crypto the wrong way. Now the government should not really just be the forefront of that. We should have companies connect to these young ones. They have mediums, they have hackathons, they have a lot of channels to connect to these young investors, to let them know how to use this crypto the right way. While we have SEC and other regulatory bodies do the licensing, because we're actually slow. If we are actually running, the funny part of it, most of these frameworks that these countries are using, actually they copied from Nigeria. That's what is happening. Sincerely, since the blockchain policy was actually released from Professor Pantami's regime as the NCC chairman, that has always, a lot of companies are going gradually to study what Nigeria is to do. But to surprise you, none of these companies, the 7 companies out of the 50 that they're saying they have now to still review, none of the companies in Nigeria currently has a full license to operate. Why? So those are the questions we need to ask. Instead of you coming to say you want to go into the education, why not look at how you can have these companies regulated? Let me show you. One of the companies is going to launch its token on an exchange that is not even regulated in Nigeria. So how do we go about that? So there are a lot of questions surrounding it. We are happy, yes, they are championing the concept of crypto smart Nigeria strong, but we need to ask this question. They should not deviate from their primary responsibility to ensure that these companies are fully regulated and they can operate. We cannot just keep watching while other countries are copying from what we are doing and actually playing in the market. So we are being left behind. That's what is happening now.
So you think we're quite slow in making the things happen?
Very slow. Not just in crypto, in other sectors, which you agree with me.
All right. So now, what do you think? Why now, really? Why is the SEC all right now deciding to focus on stable coins and doing the whole crypto smart Nigeria strong thing? What's happening? What's in the air?
So I think they actually have a leadership that is actually looking ahead. Okay. I agree with. I support what their DG, Dr. Agama, is doing because he has a foresight, right? Okay. But he wants to ensure we play the right way. Nigerians are very smart, right? If you just approve, we know definitely one of the reasons if you don't want to just give licenses and so many people come to abuse it. So they are really getting smart. They are learning very fast. That's one thing I have to give kudos to the SEC. We have been hearing CBN say we are learning for how many years now? They have not said anything. Maybe they are still learning, right? But SEC leadership is actually proactive, and it's really helping. But at the same time, they don't need to actually remain a little bit stagnant because they need to move very fast. We need to see companies get full license, companies that can come and do their advert. Nigeria should use them. One of the easiest way to curb the use of cryptocurrency in the wrong way is allow Nigerians to actually interact with these exchanges. What we don't understand is that cryptocurrency transaction can be traced, can be tracked. But until we allow Nigerians to feel free, one of the things they did that was bad was you try to ban the whole system and people try to look at how can we do it in the wrong way that the government will not be able to see us. You get that point. So, but if we had actually allowed them, a lot of them will interact with centralized exchanges. And the moment you want to do something shady, now it will be easily tracked because there are KYCs on those centralized exchanges.
Okay, so let's backtrack a bit. One of the supposed beautiful or positives, or right now, or pros or cons, however you want to see it, of cryptocurrency, digital currencies, is the inability to track and trace them. But now you're telling me that's not so. So
now the idea is if you interact with centralized exchanges, now they will be able to pin your KYC to that wallet address. Okay. Now, when you are interacting with decentralized exchanges, not as if they will not be tracked. You can be able to see the transaction, you can be able to follow the travel rule to see how this money flows, right? Okay. But you might not be able to pinpoint it to a user. Okay. So what happens is decentralized exchange is the anonymous part where you see wallets sending money. Okay. But the moment you interact with a centralized exchange where you have done your KYC, where you have registered with your name and your email, then they will be able to track you. So that has been an improvement now. Okay, and that is just what like the banking with the BVN and all that. Exactly. So that's what happened. So what I expected was allow these Nigerians to feel free. You don't even know, maybe when you connect your Trust wallet to Binance or MEX or any other centralized exchange, in the coming years, the moment you do something wrong, we'll be able to track. Oh, this wallet once interacted with a centralized exchange, so you are the person. But the moment you make Nigeria start using it the wrong way, it's difficult to even get the bad guys again. That's what we have been doing because Nigerians always try to go 2 or 3 steps ahead of the government to know that technology even better. One, to avert tax, because one of the challenges I think FRS are battling with is how do they even get to tax proceeds from exactly that. So that will be another new problem because if the SEC finish saying, okay, we have approved these companies, go and do your transaction, then what will happen to FRS next? How are we going to get our tax from them? Then it will be another new. So it's a case of everybody needs to sit on the table at the same time, have a conversation at the same time, come with a framework that works for everybody. Everybody. So from the security agencies, from FRS to SEC, and everybody that's involved.
The financial arms of the police and all that.
They need to understand
NFIU and everybody needs to sit down.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just a one person running the show. I guess it's high time for the SEC and the CBN to have that conversation.
Definitely.
But now, how would they? Because they say stable coins. That word came at me. Are they on stable coins?
Yeah. So I think one of their coins that are not stable, right? They fluctuate. Bitcoin is not a stable coin.
Okay, so what are stable coins? Bitcoin is not stable, that has been there for all these years.
It fluctuates. It fluctuates from this amount to that amount. So all other coins are not stable unless they're actually pegged to either the country's fiat or either you can.
So like our e-naira is supposed to be stable.
It's supposed to be stable.
However,
so it's 1-to-1. Okay. So we have one which is CNGN. I think they are one of the companies that are actually in the ARIP program now for SEC. Okay. So CNGN is pegged 1-to-1.
So that's one
CNGN is called to 1 naira.
One naira.
Stable, yeah.
Okay.
But they are still yet to get their full license, which we are hoping they should, because with that it will help a lot when it comes to cross-border payments and the adoption entirely. I think that's why we are getting these stories now.
So basically, just like when the country decided to float the naira, and now we're having the naira could be this morning, be that this evening, that kind of situation, that unstable thing is what's happening. But
yeah, but when you say floating, it's quite different. It has to do with the economics and whatever.
Okay, all right.
But it's still 1 naira to 1 e-naira.
Whether or not.
What
happened to the e-naira?
So I think that I had that question from one of the correspondents that asked me I should talk about e-naira, and I told him the approach of e-naira was quite bad, right?
It was like a reactive response to the situation.
You were trying to say no blockchain, no crypto, but look at e-naira.
Okay.
And how are you building it? Okay, it's on Hyperledger, the government can mint more, there is a lot of shady things. Because when you are saying no to something, why are you coming with this? What motives do you have? So people started to, okay, let's understand what's happening, right? But the motive, the channel of distribution, the marketing was so bad. There was no adult. People are not building to even accept it. I feel even banks were somehow skeptical, just like they were forcing them to actually do.
On my bank app, I used to see the e-naira option.
Have you bought it?
Okay, good one. However, I don't think I've seen it in a while, that e-naira option. I probably will check later to see if it's there. But you're right. Now, we have to round up. Time is not on our friend today. And FDI, this crypto smart Nigeria strong, how will that impact us, for FDIs in the country?
So I think SEC actually pushing the stablecoin narrative, because I see it giving it the e-naira a backing, a strong backing now. So it will give a lot of strength to the whole economy situation now, because when we have access to this, just think about your export, your import, payments from customs, so many things, like it's going to be powered through this, right? So I think it's going to bring power into the whole economy for people, for individuals, for business owners, because cross-border payment has been an issue. So I think when we actually get this actually rolled out and allow these companies, like I've said, allow these companies to be the one to reach out to people. Can you imagine government is the one doing marketing for Money Point? How it might be terrible. So allow these companies to have strategies to reach out to this business, provide solutions. It might be hardware, it might be different solutions that they could be able to use the stable coins. It can be a POS machine that will be able to accept cards that are connected to these platforms, right? So we need to actually give those platforms full licenses. Then we'll see how this thing evolves. Because the truth is, we cannot just estimate how it will go. But I assure you one thing, if it's on the blockchain, it's going to get acceptance and much adoption than even the e-naira. Okay, all right, thank you so much for your time. It's a very short time we have today, and it's been a very pleasure having you on the program, giving us insights on the blockchain. Yes, Japhet Johnson is a blockchain and crypto expert, and you've seen that he's giving us insights into the conversation of what this whole SEC thing is about. In case you hope you've learned something, understood it better, the blockchain, cryptocurrency, digital space is still something that we keep learning more and more every day, and we'll get better understanding on. That's the much we have for you today on the program. Same place, same time tomorrow. I am Chiamaka Nwafor. Bye for now.